Hey everyone, Django Fett here, and we are back to do another discussion on Book of Boba Fett. This is the season finale, episode 7, In the Name of Honor. So this is it. This is it right here. This is the season finale. It's a 1 hour long episode, so hopefully we can expect action-filled, awesomeness with Boba Fett front and center. Hopefully. But this episode is also directed by Robert Rodriguez, so hopefully a hit and not a miss. We'll discuss that later as well. So once again, I am joined with my co-host.
General CJG here.
Yep. So unfortunately, Clint won't be able to join us for this discussion, so it's just going to be me and CJ just discussing this episode as we go along.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's get right into this. We'll just get into the discussion and then we'll give our thoughts of the episode in the end and I guess the season as a whole as well. So we start off with at Mos Espa and Boba and Fennec. They inspect a blown up cantina that was overall irrelevant to the plot as a whole. But of course, Boba is without his helmet and he says that Freetown will, and Mando actually comes and says Freetown will agree to help if Spice is out there too. Spice is not dealt in that region at all. Boba agrees, and Fennec actually objects to that. And so the thing is, if they don't come, these Freetown people, they are doomed. But they need more muscle. So this is it. Like they need any type of soldiers to come in and help them. Apparently not in Mos Espa, but they want to get some more people just from out of the region as well.
I think it's because, if you remember, Boba Fett had the discussion with the Mos Espa leaders, the ones that were sitting in the palace of Boba Fett, and they were
Yeah.
like, they abide by not getting involved. I think it's probably that.
Yes, and that will come into play in this. Okay. So, they say that they're gonna hold up in Jabba's palace. And actually, one of the people actually objects to that, one of the spy kids. And they said that it's a bad idea to hold up there, but stay at where they are right now, at Garza's ruined,
Yep.
whatever it is,
It's a sanctuary.
the sanctuary. And another spy kid speaks up and says, if you stay up at Jabba's palace, we're not going to protect you and you're on your own. I don't know where this came from. This was just kind of like objecting to Boba Fett.
I
Uh,
think it's more in the sense that,
They want to
yeah,
protect them, like their people. Yeah.
yeah, in the town. Instead of just run, it's just running like a coward to your own fortress. Yeah, that.
Yeah. I just found it odd because it's like they're outlaws. The fuck they care about anybody else, but they're kids at the same time, so they must have like family around there. So
Yeah,
there's that.
possibly. Indeed. Anyway,
Yeah, so Boba agrees to their demands and ends up still being a bitch. So then we go to the Pike Syndicate. Cad Bane reports back to Mokshai's and Pike Syndicate. Pike Leader then reveals some news that I saw coming. I thought this would be becoming something more important, but no, not at all.
it was just a
Uh,
throwaway line.
Yeah, it was literally a throwaway line. So the Pike leader admits that they destroyed the Tuxicans and left evidence it was the Swoop Gang. So I thought it was no surprise, but I thought this would come into play. But no, this was just literally a throwaway line, and that's it.
It's just a throwaway line. It makes me feel that what we saw in episode 3 was just kind of meaningless. And there's a reason why, which we'll get to much later. So, yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, the jungle, go on.
Now, Mokshai's didn't like the idea of bombing Garza Sanctuary, which was interesting, and they agreed to only surgical strikes and not open warfare. So he's hesitant. And then Cad Bane is like, he knows how to draw Boba out.
I'm not surprised
Um,
given that
yeah,
Cad Bane and Boba Fett have history in the Clone Wars 2008.
okay. Yeah, see, I don't know that, so I don't, I
Yeah,
can't
they,
say,
they,
I
they do
can't
have
comment on it.
history because Cad Bane is also a bounty hunter. And he's been alive since 60 something BBY.
That's a pretty long time.
Mm hmm. Yep.
So, an X-Wing appears, and Grogu appears, and This I thought this was a little surprising for me because I thought they wouldn't reveal this cliffhanger at the end of the last episode until the Mandalorian. But
Hmm.
no, they literally reveal it at the next episode, and it gets worse because they he reveals underneath his robe he has the Mandalorian armor underneath him. So he
No
made his
Yoda,
choice
and no Yoda
already.
lightsaber. No Yoda lightsaber either. So he couldn't even take both. As I, oh my god. So all those people that were saying, "Oh, Luke's not actually giving him a choice. It's more like a trick. He'll still be training as a Jedi and even take the best armor." Nope, it was an actual choice laid out by Luke Skywalker, and Yoda took the Beskar armor and said, "Screw the Jedi Order. I'm just going back with Mando."
Yeah.
Oh my
Uh,
god.
this this reveals that not only does the well, I'll save this for when Mando appears as well, and then
Mm.
they both talk with
Yeah, let's
him.
go with that.
I'll save it for the ending. But I think we all saw this coming with the armor that Baby Yoda Grogu is going to take the armor. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the thing was there. Like basically, like the writing on the wall was there because everybody loves Grogu, even though we're kind of sick of Grogu at this time. We kind of wanted Mando to move on and Grogu to move on. The events of season two were so impactful and so awesome in the end
Mm-hmm.
because of, and so sad because of their goodbyes and them moving on. But I'll talk about this more towards the end. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna save myself for that.
we'll have plenty to discuss. Anyway, let's move
Yeah.
on.
Okay. So Boba Fett and his gang wait at Garza's ruins, and the Spy Kids and Chrysanthemum are scouting ahead. They're making sure that the Pike Syndicate doesn't jump on them. Cad Bane appears to Boba and negotiates. Wants to have negotiations with Boba, and then Bane reveals that the Pike Syndicate was behind the murder of the Tuscans, and Cad wants a duel. And Boba says, "Oh, I'm gonna take him. I can take him." And in the background, you also hear that Fennec Shun is like, "No, don't do this. You're not ready. You're too emotional." And I was with Fennec on this because it's like you knew he wasn't ready, and you knew his emotional state would just jeopardize it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, obviously that was not the place and time to fight Cat Bane right then and there. Cat Bane does say that you're getting soft and leaves. So because Boba actually doesn't attack him, he just holds back for now. So then the Spy Kids get attacked by the Aqualish. I think it's Aqualish.
Yeah.
Yes, and then Chrysanthemum gets ambushed by Trandoshans, and then Gamorreans get attacked, and then they get pushed off a cliff. So the treaty with the families is broken right then and there.
Mm.
Instead of having the families work together with Boba
Or at
or bribing them in some way, no, they work with the Pike Syndicate and betray Boba.
the original deal was for the families to just stay away from all of it. They agreed to it. But it seems that the Pike Syndicate has managed to offer them something way better in order to have them work with them. So,
Yeah, I mean, like my thing is like Boba tried to negotiate so that they help him,
mm-hmm.
but then they were like, no. And then he's like, okay, can you not stay involved in this?
And they said
And
yes.
they're like, yeah. But it's like that's such a bitch move. Like you want them to be on your side in some way and negotiate a good deal, but he couldn't even do it the first time. So then he just like, hey, can you just be neutral? And it just seems like a bitch move overall.
Especially now they turn on them.
Yeah, exactly.
There's that. And
Okay.
from here is where the battle begins, apparently.
Hmm. Yep. The first of many action scenes. They'll get better. This one is whatever. Chrysanthemum getting ambushed by Trandoshans. Okay, let me just move on from there. The Fennec actually appears and saves the Spy Kids, and Pikes appear at Garza's place, and Boba and Mando talk, and Boba remarks like, "You really buy into the Bantha Father regarding the Mandalorian Creed." So obviously, this is not the same Boba that we know from the EU, and it's pretty much a curmudgeon, I would say, in regards to Mandalorian stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's just using it as a means to an end for him.
Yeah.
So the Twilight says he can negotiate for Boba, and he's then hesitant to the Pikes because uh, the deal that Boba writes to say for the Twilight to say, he says that, oh, nothing, you'll get nothing, and something about the corpses will be littered in Tatooine and trees will bloom from there or something like that.
It's just a bullshit statement in which basically it was a whole lot of fluff and just a threat at the end, which then made Fett and Djarin literally use their jetpacks and start shooting at everyone. So finally, we see Boba Fett actually use the jetpack and actually shooting with it. We've waited what 7 episodes for this? God. Oh my god.
Yeah. So that was all a ploy so that they would get distracted and then they could come in and just kill them.
Mm,
But they didn't kill them all. They killed a couple of them, as
mm-hmm.
there's quite a lot of them.
Yeah.
And the action is actually quite short because then they get overwhelmed and they're on the defensive then. So, all that cool action is just so short-lived. I wish there was more, but it was just like, uh, whatever. So then he gets assistance with
Peter.
Freetown and then the Spy Kids and then Chrysanthemum.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I thought the standout would I wanted the standout to be Chrysanthemum in this episode. Unfortunately, he's not because of he's injured quite a bit, and I get it, he's overwhelmed and stuff. But I truly wanted him to be like destroying everything along the way. But unfortunately, he does get nipped quite a lot
Mm-hmm. Even shot
with
in
blaster
in
rifles and
the
stuff like that.
even shot in one of the legs.
I think both legs.
No, it was one.
It was one leg. Yeah, he gets shot a lot,
Indeed.
but he's still alive. So
Yeah.
that's the thing.
So, but the tides are definitely turning. The problem is later on. What happens to Django?
Okay, so these are not quite. They're not quite similar to Droidicas from episode one.
But it's very
Who
similar.
but they are giant versions of them with these huge shields, and they are just obliterating everything. So they try firing at them, and it does nothing to these guys. So they're pretty much everyone is on the defensive, and they try to retreat from there. Everybody's like, "Get the hell out of here!
Yeah.
No way we can fight these."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You won't believe this, Django, but those Scorpionic droids, they actually first existed in the expanded universe. So they actually took it from
Hmm.
there and they put it here. They first existed in the Art of Star Wars episode to Attack the Clones, and they were first ever mentioned in the New Essential Guide to Droids. And that's their only like official EU source where there's one battle where they're actually deployed, and that's how they end up in canon in there. And in here in Disney Star Wars, their first ever mention and canon appearance is here in this episode. So they're exactly the same as in the EU, with the lasers, the shield, everything. One
Oh,
to
okay,
one the same.
that's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, continue.
Okay, so then in the wrong place at the wrong time, the crazy droid lady appears, and she brings Grogu, and Mando's like, "What the heck? What are you doing here, man?" And they hug each other, and the thing is, because they're in the wrong situation at the wrong time, their encounter is just so glossed
Short-lived.
over and not as powerful that it just means nothing. Like, yeah, I thought that was just a bad moment. Like, you would think that would be a more powerful thing because they haven't seen each other in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And after season two, Mandalorian, and it's just like, yeah, whatever, yeah.
Yeah. So
But
there's that.
anyway, you hear some roaring in the background as they're getting overwhelmed by these two droids,
Mm-hmm.
and a Rancor appears, and Boba is on top of it. So he has learned to ride the Rancor,
Mm-hmm.
and a dumb kaiju scene happens where the Rancor and the droid fight, and Mando manages to sneak in and destroy a few parts of the droid, and then Grogu comes in and takes out one part, uses the Force, and takes out one part of the droid and destroys it. Rancor actually comes in and just finishes it off.
Yeah, Krogo just removed one ball from it, and then it was the Rancor who pretty much laid the final blow.
Right. Yeah. So one droid out of two is down, so there's another one to go.
Mm-hmm.
So then there's the other group that's getting overwhelmed by the droid and the other Pike Syndicate members. And there was this plan by the one person that they were like, okay, hey, cover me. I'm gonna go up to the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they were trying to pick off some Pike Syndicate members, but I never understood what the plan was? I guess just to pick him off.
The plan was to snipe some Pike Syndicate members and distract the droid from destroying the big wall that was covering most of the forces of Fett. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it wasn't clear to me because it's like, hey, just cover me, and I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Lol.
So the Rancor appears again, and it actually fights the last droid and destroys it. And I think this is the one that was just like the epic finish, where it just like destroys it by taking one of the attachments and then just like impales it, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And then they fight the last remaining pikes and just pick them off. And then Rancor actually ends up beating up a bunch of pikes and actually eats one, which I thought was pretty cool. Cad Bane then appears
At the
and
last minute.
he throws Boba off the Rancor by shooting some fire at the Rancor, and the Rancor runs away. And Boba and Cad Bane have a showdown. And Cad says, "I'm faster than you," and Boba's like, "But I have armor." So my thing is like, okay, you have armor, but so being fast means nothing,
Mm,
and apparently that's the case. So uh, let me go through this. So, as they're in this showdown, Cad Bane super fast, and he easily just picks off Boba on the armor. He doesn't shoot anywhere else. He shoots the armor, and Boba's on the defensive. And yeah, so he lost the duel pretty badly. So Boba's still a bitch. But at the last moment, while he's on the ground, Boba does get his Gaddafi stick and manages to swing at Cad Bane and stab him and kills Cad Bane right then and there. And
yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. I actually liked that scene. But I thought what happened in the showdown, and he remarks like, "Oh, I have armor, so that will protect me." And yeah, I guess it goes to show you just need armor. You can be the slowest motherfucker ever, and you could still kill your person. Kill whoever in the showdown.
Yep. So I actually have one big issue with this scene, and it's because you finally introduced Cad Bane, one of the most popular bounty hunters in Star Wars history, in particular Disney Star Wars. Ever since the Clone Wars 2008, he's been one of the fan favorites. And you finally introduce him in live action at the very last minute of episode 6. And he doesn't even show up for most of the fight with the Pike Syndicate until the very fucking end, and he just gets killed off rather easily by Boba Fett. Now, granted,
I
I
wouldn't
don't
say easily.
I don't. Well, until the very. I don't object Boba Fett killing him, but the thing is, Cad Bane was his inclusion was so short-lived and so underutilized that anybody could have taken his shoes. Anybody. And by the way, his death is confirmed. This is the end of Cad Bane. This is the complete end. So those that were expecting something great from Cad Bane in episode 7, ever since they saw in episode 6, no, don't get your hopes up. He literally just talks, and until the end, he just throws some flamethrower, like one quick melee fight with Boba Fett, and then he dies. Like, it was so short lived, and yeah, fans that are pissed, fans of Cad Bane that are pissed that he's underutilization, yeah, I feel you guys. This show has underutilized plenty of ideas and elements since its inception. So, yeah.
So, as someone who doesn't know much about Cad Bane, I I felt like Cad Bane had a presence behind him. And I think when the fight happened and Boba actually had the killing blow and actually killed him, I actually felt like this is the one time out of many times, like within like Marvel, for instance, where I've complained over and over where they kill off so many compelling villains and don't save them for future films that this is the one time in Star Wars that it happens that I feel like for me personally, in my opinion, that it was fine. It was justified. That I mean, one person that definitely deserves to get killed for me was Cad Bane, and Boba doing that was fine by me. I had no issue with that.
Well, that is until we bring the fact that Cat Bane's presence could have been built a lot more instead of just for one measly episode, and that's because the
Right.
show wasted 2 episodes. But yeah, so that's
Yeah.
that's why. Like
Yeah, I
if
understand.
like the fight could have had build up. But anyway, I'll get into the later on to the reasons why this happened. So anyway, continue.
Okay. So The Rancor is still out there, and the entire Freetown and Spy Kids start shooting at it, and it's going all King Kong, basically going on top of the tallest tower and just freaking out. So Mando first tries to restrain it and fails miserably, and then Goku appears in front of the Rancor and calms it using the Force. And then he rests near the Rancor in a cutesy scene because Grogu's cute, of course, and yada yada yada. So the Rancor is down. We don't have to deal with the Rancor anymore. And that's it for that sequence right there, that whole battle of Mos Espa. We go to Mos Eisley with the Pike leader and the family members and the mayor who betrayed Boba. The Pike leader says he's going to go, and everyone starts
Getting
losing
shot.
it. They're like, what the hell? And then everyone starts getting shot at mysteriously. Nobody knows where. And then Mok Shaiz gets choked, and the leader gets stabbed. And it's not Boba who's doing it, as it's revealed. It's actually Fennec Shand.
That to me was like the final nail in the coffin to showcase how useless Boba Fett is to do things his own way. Because think about it, the Pike Syndicate, the ones that killed the Tusken Raiders, and all of the gang leaders of Mos Espa that betrayed Boba Fett, and the Major Mok Shaiz, who also was conspiring behind him. You think Boba Fett will finally be like, you fuckers will never ever do this again to me, and I'll make sure of it. No, it's Fennec Shan instead. Like, just that like it was bad as Fennec Shand wrecked them and killed them, but it should have been Boba Fett. It should have been Boba Fett. There's no way around it. It should have been him to destroy them.
It
It,
should have been called the Fennec Shand and Mandalorian TV show at this point because it just doesn't involve Boba Fett. And I'm in agreement with you. It's not a satisfying scene. Yes, it's some cool stuff that happens, but at the end of the day, Boba Fett is supposed to go to the Pike leader and just like blast him away or destroying him in some way, and like have this talk or something, and just kill him. Like that. I mean, like he did this to your family, your
mm-hmm.
the Tuscan friends and stuff, and you don't even go out and have the decency to go out there and fucking kill him yourselves. Have like
Mm.
it was just so unsatisfying scene overall. I just not did not like it.
Yeah, agreed. So yeah, and then the last scene or the last few scenes.
Okay. There's also an after credit scene, so I have to remark on that. We'll talk about that
Yeah.
as well. So there it's peaceful at Mos Espa. Boba's being loved by everyone. And there is a quote that Boba says, and Fennec Shand says. It's in regards to I don't remember the exact quote, but it's he says that he's not cut out for this
Mm.
in the end. He says I don't think I'm cut out for this. And then he has a thing with the and then Fennec's like, "Yeah, I agree." So what's the point of this show?
Don't worry, the Django. I'll get into it. But yeah, remember to make that same question once we finally finish with the whole summary.
Yeah, yeah. And then in the end, we have well, there's another thing at the end. Grogu and Mandu travel together.
Mm.
So everything from fucking season 2 means nothing. The season finale means nothing because Grogu and Mandu are back together and they're gonna be back to do their adventures in Mandalorian season 3. So Mandalorian season 3 is gonna be the Grogu and Mandalorian adventures again. Fuck all, man. Just because everyone loved Grogu, wanted him to come back, and because he was a moneymaker, a cash cow for Disney. That's why they're bringing him back. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fucking joke. And then in the after credits, in the back to tank, Cobb Vanth is there and will undergo modifications, so he'll be back, which I expected. I guess in season 3 or something. So that was fine. I thought that was
Yeah.
a nice little thing. But
And
that's
that's
it.
the episode. So,
Yep.
Django, what do you think?
Okay. Okay, I have to say for the season finale, it was underwhelming. It was pretty mediocre, and while there were some cool bits, it's too little, too late. I mean, they could have done so much more throughout this entire season. It's just not enough. And it just goes to show you that if you don't have capable writers or have the commitment and behind it, like it's just gonna be a fucking mess. And this is what it was. And the writing department, I think it was mostly Robert Rodriguez behind it. I refuse to believe John
Oh.
Favreau is behind it because I feel like it was more Robert Rodriguez who was helming the writing because it was just a fucking
Oh,
mess. No way that it was Jon Favreau.
okay.
I just can't believe it.
Well, okay. I'll say quickly my thoughts. Yeah, underwhelming. It definitely did not change our own thoughts on the whole show from last podcast. We thought it was going to be failure in with this episode. It's still the same case. So it did not redeem anything. So yeah. But the Django, you're probably wondering just what the fuck happened with this show. How could it possibly have happened this? We've made speculations in the past episode. We made some here at the beginning, but you're probably dying to know what the fuck happened with this show. Like, how could it go so spectacularly wrong? And lucky for us and the audience, well, in my time between episode 6 and 7, I actually made research in regards to the behind the scenes of not only Book of Boba Fett, but even Mandalorian Season 2 to find out the thought process of Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, and the rest of the cast and crew and stuff, and figure out what was the whole purpose of Book of Boba Fett. Like, how did it go from basically the reveal from Mando Season 2 to this? So, what happened? Okay, well, you ready to Django?
Let's do it.
Okay, so the first info that I got is from the Disney Gallery Mandalorian Season 2, which you can watch in Disney Plus, actually. So basically, this covers the Season 2 finale. And this actually, this is going to make you facepalm in a few areas of Jungle. So starting off with Jon Favreau, he starts the featurette by saying, "I think a consistent thing I'm feeling is that people care deeply that it's being handled respectfully. It meant so much, and they want to see it continue into the future and feel like it's all connected with consistency. We're very lucky that between Lucasfilm and Kathy, the whole group that we have are incredibly supportive and encouraging." He means in regards to doing the TV shows. And he was saying that while simultaneously the video was showing Boba Fett and the Slave One.
Wow.
The irony on that one. But that's just him quoting something. Now here's the next piece of info, and it's in regards to Grogu. So you know how it is in Mando Season 2, how Luke Skywalker shows up and takes Grogu, right? For training and stuff, and that was a powerful moment. Well, Jon Favreau, he confirms that the finale of Mandalorian Season 2 was meant to be the conclusion to the journey of Grogu within the Djarin. He even described the moment of Luke showing up and taking Grogu with him as the culmination of a 2-season arc about the journey of this little child. So, basically, the ending was indeed supposed to be Grogu no longer showing up in Mando Season 3, but apparently somebody changed its complete mindset. I don't know if it was Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, or Kathleen Kennedy Disney, or or all of them combined. Which one do you think, Django?
Oh God. I would love to say the Disney execs, and I have a feeling it is. But I have a feeling it's everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jon Favreau just must have forgotten completely.
It's possible, yep. So yeah, then we go to Robert Rodriguez in Mandalorian Season 2. So, okay. So Robert Rodriguez, he said that Boba Fett was always his favorite character in Star Wars ever since he saw the original trilogy, and he was very honored to be the one to bring Boba back into the spotlight in Mandalorian Season 2. Yep, we started by saying that. And no, it doesn't end there. Then he said that he wanted Boba to move and fight more differently than Din Djarin, Mando. That Boba must have a weight and gravitas that showcases why he's such a legend. He basically wanted this Boba to live up to his name that fans back then would whisper and talk about in the 80s. He even
Boba definitely had the weight.
Yeah. He even compared Dean to him being a gunslinger while Boba is more of a barbarian. Robert even went so far as to have his 2 sons dressed up as Boba Fett and stormtroopers and film them literally making the scene that Robert wanted to do in Mando Season 2 and show it to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni so he could illustrate his point how badass Boba Fett should be in the show when he first gets his armor. And ultimately, both Jon and Dave approved it. Yeah, that happened. And finally, Robert said that he directed Chapter 14 under the mindset that this will be the last time we see Boba Fett. To not take for granted that Boba would show up in later episodes, that this was his only chance to fully showcase Boba Fett. So he wanted to go all out of him, and that it needed to satisfy. His personal mission was for this episode to say, Boba is back.
Hmm.
uh, yeah. What do you think of that, Django?
It's lining up with all the problems with what we thought of John Favreau and especially Robert Rodriguez, because they clearly do not understand his character in this series compared to Mandalorian season 2 at all.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's. And Robert Rodriguez, with that much passion in making Boba Fett a badass, it makes you wonder what the fuck happened with Book of Boba Fett. Like, if he really wanted to showcase Boba Fett being such a badass, a almost lone wolf, like barbarian of sorts, basically portray him in this show in the same way he did with Mando season 2. That was basically what it is. So but that didn't happen. And instead, we got this lesser version of Boba Fett that can't even do things his own way. And he needs others doing it. So what I just said is what happened in Mando Season 2. But what about Book of Boba Fett? Well, that's where I dug deep, and I managed to find one article in Desire.com that linked to several sources and an entire timeline of events of what happened. And this pretty much confirms exactly what we pretty much were skeptical of. So basically, the article says that not only has production started for Mando Season 3 and the Boba Fett spin-off, back in November 2020 and stuff, and that Jon Favreau is already writing Mando Season 3 and stuff. So, however, once filming started for Book of Boba Fett, the entire cast and crew actually thought they were working on Mandalorian Season 3. It went so far as that even the scripts were numbered as 301, 302, 303, 304, so on and so forth. Literally, the scripts were a complete continuation of Mando Season 3. They even didn't have the title saying this is Mando Season 3 or this is Book of Boba Fett. It was literally just continuing with the Mando Season 2, like just straight up. And the cast and crew literally thought that was the case. And once the cast and crew found out that it was actually a spin-off Book of Boba Fett, they did found it a bit lighthearted and funny that, oh, it's a spin-off all along. The thing is, the superiors, they were always calling it Mandalorian Season 2.5. All along, they've been calling it Mandalorian Season 2.5. Yes, Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, they were all calling it Mando Season 2.5. Mm-hmm. So basically, the Book of Boba Fett all along was dubbed Mandalorian Season 2.5. So basically, the two previous thumbnails stated Star Wars were not really far off, which is why the one in this video is also in the same vein as, scratch Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian. So, yep, that's what happened. And this is confirmed by Ming-Na Wen, who she did an interview in digitalspy.com. She pretty much confirmed that when she was told she was going to become a series regular, she automatically assumed it was Mando Season 3. Even the script saying 301, 302, so on and so forth. So just assume I was signing contracts because it didn't say Mandalorian in the contracts. So for 2 weeks, she was working with Tamora Morrison and Robert Rodriguez. She got no idea they were showing the spin-off until at the very end she realized it. And even after that, they were still calling it Mandalorian Season 2.5. Yep. So there's that. And not only that, Django, but the post-credit scene from Mando Season 2, the one that showcases Boba Fett blasting off Bib Fortuna and taking over the palace. That almost nobody, except for Jon Favreau and Filoni, and I guess Kathleen Kennedy, almost nobody knew that was a thing. Very few people knew about it. Not even most of Disney knew about it. Robert Rodriguez claims that even Disney didn't know that they were going to drop that post-credit scene. That it was a complete surprise on all of them. This was a secretive thing, that it was just made up by Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and the cast and crew that filmed that scene, and I guess Kathleen Kennedy. So almost nobody knew about that spin-off. Literally nobody knew about the post-credit scene and that it was there in the last episode. Almost nobody knew about it. So it was a surprise to them. And So when that happened, when the that scene happened, and the reports that Mando season 3 is coming out later on 2021, a lot of people were confused about if what was coming next in Disney Plus was if it was the Book of Boba Fett or Mandalorian season 3. It got so bad that Jon Favreau actually had to go to Good Morning America and specify that the Book of Boba Fett was its own show and was separate from Mandalorian Season 3. Of course, the previous report confirms the Book of Boba Fett all along was Mandalorian Season 3, so making it separate was hardly that. So, yeah. So, if Book of Boba Fett all along was Mando Season 3, or at least a continuation to Season 2, then how is it that it became its own show? The article on Desire.com speculates that originally Book of Boba Fett was only going to be a 3-episode story arc in Mandalorian Season 3 as a premiere of sorts. But the reason why it didn't happen is because COVID. COVID apparently shut down all the Disney productions in Los Angeles. It pretty much shut down all sorts of TV shows and stuff, including Book of Boba Fett and Mando Season 3. And once filming started, they had to pretty much do it under COVID restrictions. So this means that they could not go on a bigger scale and do more than what it was. So basically, this article is pretty much strongly hinting that the first 4 episodes of Book of Boba Fett were filmed at the start of 2021 under very strict restrictions, which explains why Tatooine is the only planet we see in those 4 episodes and why I don't see anything on a bigger scale aside from maybe the train. So, yeah, the first 4 episodes were filmed in 2021 and they were somehow wrapped in with the 3 episodes that were meant to be for Mandalorian Season 3, and they made that as its own show because Mando Season 3 was delayed for 2022, so they needed to release something in 2021. So they released Book of Boba Fett, and that's why the 2 halves became this show. One half they had to literally scrouch and make in order to complete the show, and the other half that was going to be for an entirely different show. And the reason why they were able to manage to do those 4 episodes, because Robert Rodriguez is known to be somebody that can actually be able to do all sorts of episodes and media in a short, tight schedule. So that's why he does 2 of the 4 episodes in the beginning, because he actually was one of the better directors to direct and write something in a quick manner. So, yep. All
Yikes.
along, Book of Boba Fett is 2 halves that they combine into one. So we
And they
actually
rushed it too.
exactly.
It
Oh,
shows.
exactly. So this entire show, if they had only delayed Mando Season 2 and literally just outright just left us waiting for Mando Season 3, it would have been better. Like, at least wait. But I guess Disney executives or whoever wanted a show from Jon Favreau in 2021. And not only that, but Dave Filoni was actually absent for most of the Book of Boba Fett. He was actually absent because Favreau was the one that was mostly dealing with Book of Boba Fett, while Filoni was working on Mandalorian Season 3, which is why Filoni only shows up to direct and write 1 episode, Episode 6, the one that deals with Luke training with Grogu. So literally Filoni was mostly gone from Book of Boba Fett. Yeah. Literally, the crew of Mando Season 3 was split to make the spin off to release in the deadline that Disney gave them, and the other half was working on Mando Season 3. Yep, this
Okay.
is the real deal. Yes, I'll link the articles to it and show images so you guys see that, yeah, this is what happened. So, yeah, so the Django, now you can go on with your full thoughts.
Okay. So, regarding as soon as Disney released the lineup for TV shows, I was hoping for different creators involved. And it looked like Mandalorian was a separate team, and then Book of Boba Fett might be a separate team. But no, it's literally like the same team. And this is, Mandalorian season 2.5. And I just think the idea of 3 episodes would have probably been enough.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they're rushing with, they're gonna have like what 3 to 4 shows this year,
Yeah, I
I
believe
think,
it's.
and I think they're probably gonna do more next year, like 3 to 4, because this is the cash. This is where they're doing it now. They're not gonna put the effort into movies now. it's all about the TV shows because that's where all the viewership is coming from now,
Mm-hmm.
and the money is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna now. This is a model. Mandalorian set up the model for future shows to be pumped out and be released in really low quality, as we see with Book of Boba Fett. And who knows what's gonna come out with Kenobi and Mandalorian as well, even season three. Because I feel like there might be episodes of Book of Boba Fett interjected in Mandalorian. I don't know. Like this is such a problematic state with Disney now with these TV shows, and this. I mean, obviously, this should have been in Mandalorian season three because that's where this universe kind of started from there. But the fact that they couldn't come up with anything for Book of Boba Fett and interjected those two episodes in there
Three
is a
actually.
fucking.
It's three because the article in Decider.com says that the episodes 5 to 7 were actually meant to be a on this Boba Fett slash Din Djarin type duo of sorts, kind of like I guess Phineas and Ferb of sorts of duo. So basically, 5 to 7 were all meant to be Mando season three. Yeah, even that whole fight with the Pike Syndicate that also was meant to be in Mando season three. Those three episodes as a whole, the ones that literally they had to make in the spot for to make Book of Boba Fett a thing were 1 to 4, which is why when you see 1 to 4 and then you compare to 5 to 7, 5 to 7 just feel almost disconnected from 1 to 4 in terms of quality and even writing. That's why. So there's
Mm.
that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's just like yeah, it's like three episodes. I mean, like that's sad, man. Like you don't even give attention to Boba Fett. And I get it, like Boba Fett wasn't interesting, but you can write him in a way that comes off interesting. EU people, authors have been doing it for years, and they were still pumping out great stories till the very end. And you can't even do that with this? It's a joke. Like you have the entire Hollywood behind you, and you come out with this.
Mm-hmm.
It just, I mean, Boba Fett is treated like a joke. It's
Mm-hmm.
sad. I mean, like after the Sarlacc pit, and then they just throw him back in the Sarlacc pit. That's like the reference to Book of Boba Fett to me. That's how he is now.
Uh, to be perfectly honest, I really think what they should have done is just do the flashback of Boba Fett escaping the Sarlacc pit and maybe a few of the Tusken Raiders, and then put that into the 3 episodes that were meant for Mando Season 3. Put all that in Mando Season 3 and just completely not do Book of Boba Fett. They honestly, after knowing what happened behind the scenes and that this was originally meant to be Mandalorian Season 3, literally they should have just stuck with Mando Season 3 full way. They should have not made a spin-off TV show. They should have just said that that review in Mando Season 2 at the end, that was for Mando Season 3. They should have never greenlit this spin-off show because
Mm.
at the end of the day, they were just literally duct taping a 3 episode arc with 4 episodes that were literally made on the spot to try to duct tape this entire show. And honestly, yeah, they should just talk Mando Season 3. Delay Mando Season 3 if you need more time. Don't rush out a TV show that was only meant just for a deadline. You already have other TV shows on Disney Plus coming out. Kenobi's coming out in 2022. I know 2021 we had Visions, and Bad Batch. That should have been it. We did not need it to see Book of Boba Fett live action. We didn't. Honestly, I would have taken not seeing it. In fact, our expectations, Django, yours, mine, and others, were woefully misplaced because we expected this to be a Boba Fett show, but all along from the beginning, it was meant to be just a companion piece for Mando Season 3. But they duct taped it into a Boba Fett TV show. And all of our expectations and the expectations of Boba Fett fans were woefully misplaced. And it fucking sucks. They should have never done this. Never.
Yeah, yeah. And I do have this article in front of me too about Tamora Morrison, and he has a critique too.
Mm-hmm.
This was actually back in no, late January.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually remarks saying that he quotes in from an interview with NME. He says, I'm talking too much. This Bubba doesn't talk this much.
Hmm.
And I've got all these paragraphs here, and I think we should get rid of it. And he recalls telling a crew member. And John's gone to Atlanta, so don't tell him. Next morning on set, I get a call from Atlanta, and John Favreau, wants you to say all that dialogue. So Tamura doesn't even have a say in on a character that he kind of built up, and iconic for. And even he's criticizing, like, I don't say this much. Like, I get to the point and I do my thing as Boba Fett. And John is like commanding this and saying, no, you can't do this. And it's just like, it just goes to show you how fucked up this show is.
Mm-hmm.
One
It
of the many problems.
Yeah, it goes to show. Yeah, it's just this show was a mess from the start. Like we thought it was going somewhere at the beginning, but turns out that no, this entire show, its entire focus was completely skewed in the wrong direction, and there always was behind the scenes issues. And yeah, like this just uh, God, this show's a failure, and it's a prime example of how not to make a show with duct tape and taking episodes from another TV show and putting them in here. It's a bad example of it. Terrible. So,
Yep.
and I pray to God they don't do it again. Better not to. You already have so many TV shows lined up, Disney. You don't need to make another one that literally is just rushed in and poorly slap made in order to fill some sort of a Disney Plus deadline of sorts. Don't do that. You don't need to.
Yeah, and I think after the sequel trilogy just failed for them, they want to try the TV show route. So they're going to divert all their resources towards that. And it's like, I guess that makes sense after Mandalorian, but it's just like, that's kind of the building block for them. And it's just like, for me, after seeing Book of Boba Fett, I'm actually feeling more Star Wars fatigue from this compared to the sequel trilogy. That's how sad this show is. That it does that to me because I'm a huge Boba Fett fan, as you guys know,
Yeah.
and it just deflates me to this extent. And when we have expectations for shows and we want them to be great and we criticize these shows, it doesn't mean that we hate, like, we want them to be just terrible. We want to see great, entertaining shows. And if they don't do that, we're going to criticize and bash them for that because we want these great people, Tamora Morrison and Ming-Na Wen, doing great jobs and doing something from a TV show that we could say, like, oh, I watched that TV show and I had a great time with it and I'm going to be watching it again for sure. And down the line. Like we want that to happen. But so far, if Disney goes down this route with the Book of Boba Fett and then, Kenobi could be a failure, who knows? Mandalorian season 3 could be a failure, we don't know. This is going to be hitting the wall fast. And it's going to fail in, by the end of this year, maybe next year, because people are going to be fatigued with all these TV shows too, not
Mm.
just us.
Yeah, exactly. They'll pretty much be doing the same mistake they did with the movies, whereas people got
Mhm.
fatigued from the Star Wars movies, particularly because the spin-offs were so worthless, and people were already sick and tired of the sequels after The Last Jedi. So if they start going this route after Mandalorian season 3 with the other TV shows, people will pretty much just they won't give a shit anymore. And what will Disney do? They're gonna have to do something else to keep Star Wars alive, because if the movie's already failed and they are not trying to do another movie for a while, supposedly there are, but we haven't seen anything from that. And then the TV shows failed, and what do they got? The movies and the TV shows, they're the highest form of canon in Disney Star Wars. They're the highest form, and both fail. Then what else do you do?
Yeah.
Like that's oh my god, that's gonna be something like this. This Star Wars timeline is gonna flop harder than the EU ever fucking did. Oh my god.
I mean, I think it already has. I mean, from what I've heard from Henson and other people, I think Clint as well, that it's already been a goddamn disaster. They haven't kept up to date with their canon and stuff at all,
Oh, the continuity is a
and
mess. Yeah.
yeah, continuity is just a goddamn mess from the start. I knew it from the beginning because I read Marvel Star Wars #1 back in the day, and from there it contradicted the original trilogy, and I was like, yeah, this series, this whole trilogy, like this whole continuity is dead in the water for me. Right,
uh,
the first fucking issue.
yeah. Indeed. Like, yeah. The continuity in Star Wars. It's bad. We have an entire 3-part video in State of Star Wars for that. So that One thing I do regret from doing those is that I wish Book of Boba Fett had come out first, so I would have added Yoda's lightsaber in it. So I'll say that one there. But yeah, so yeah, this is the state of Disney Star Wars in terms of its well, continuity was already broken, but I mean more quality wise, as in if more TV shows start doing the same missteps as Book of Boba Fett did or worse, it will be the end for any sort of live action type content from Disney Star Wars. Movies are already so much in the back end shelf. And TV shows right now is dominating, but the moment people are just get tired of it, especially because of how there's so many blunders, yeah, there's not gonna be anything else live action. Like it's gonna be deader faster than how much we had to wait for to get the prequels or to get any type of live action content from Star Wars in the George Lucas days after the original trilogy. Like at least we got the Ewok movies and the hardest special in the 80s and even early 90s, but hey, at least we were still getting some Star Wars content that actually mattered. Whereas in Disney Star Wars, only the movies and TV shows matter in terms of the highest form of continuity. If those fail, there will be nothing. Like, it will be ruined. So, that's all
Yeah.
I gotta say on that. So, the Django, do you got anything else to mention?
In regards to people praising this Book of Boba Fett, as Padme would say, so this is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause.
I would have said, so this is how the fandom dies, with thunderous applause.
Oh God, yeah. We want a good, entertaining show, and that's just not what we had. There were some good things about this, but it's just a failure overall. And yeah, I'm just gonna take a long break from Star Wars after this point. I still got a couple of videos I have to do on Book of Boba Fett, but that's it for me. I need to take a long break, and it's actually deflated me to a point where I don't even know if I'll even do videos on Kenobi. Like I was very much looking to that forward to that show, but I found out some information about it, and we'll discuss it in another video. That it's possibly going to be bad. We don't know, but there is information on that we could reveal that it's not looking like a good direction.
Mm-hmm.
But I could be wrong. Who knows?
Yeah. So, there's that right there. So, yeah. Anything else that we gotta mention, the Django, or discuss?
No, I think we pretty much discussed everything. I think Book of Boba Fett, as you guys know, our thoughts. It's just been, it was up in the beginning and then it just went down quickly, so
Mm-hmm.
badly.
And then the realization that all along our expectations were woefully misplaced from the beginning. It only hurt even more.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, so let's get into the conclusion, the Django. So, okay. So, you want to go first or I go first?
You go first.
Okay. So, Book of Boba Fett, humongous disappointment. And it sucks to know that it had potential, but then we realized that the potential was never really feasible because it was literally going to be Mando season 3 all along. And what we saw was just a duct tape rushed version of a spin-off show that had the spin-off show actually had gotten plenty of time to flesh out and crew to work on and actually come from unique ideas for Boba Fett instead of from another TV show, it could have actually been something great. The potential definitely was there, but since the beginning, it was misplaced from the start, and it just sucks. And I hope to God we don't see this again in Disney Plus. If it happens for a second time, I don't think we'll go that. I mean, we hardly went easy on this one, but I doubt we'll go easy again. I strongly doubt it. We'll go even harder on that one. So maybe even make an entire rant video on it. So yeah, that's what I gotta say. So the Django, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I'm just gonna reiterate what I've said in the beginning. Like, it started off good in the beginning and then it just deflated fast. And I wanted the show to be so good, man. I really did, but it just failed. It was completely rushed, and it really showed. And as the writing, I think it was mostly done by Robert Rodriguez because it just shows that he's not. I know John Favreau is credited, but I think
It's both of
Be-
them. The one that was
Yeah,
completely missing was Dave Filoni.
yeah. I mean, I feel like it's mostly written by Robert Rodriguez because of how messy it is.
Mm.
I know John Favreau has been doing some good and bad episodes here and there, but yeah, this is definitely his worst works as he is credited for it. But yeah, this show, I mean, it could be the beginning of the end for Disney Star Wars. I have no idea. But it's just not looking good, and it's just like as just setting up for other Disney Star Wars shows that we don't really care about right now when it comes to just watching a Boba Fett TV series. And they just didn't do Boba Fett credit at all.
Or Justice.
Uh, or justice, yeah, that's what I mean. Um, they just I love Tamora Morrison. I love Ming-Na Wen and what they were trying to do with their characters, but the writing didn't help with it, and they did them a huge disservice, and they did not understand these characters at all. Fennec Shand, I mean, she was truly the standout, but I really wish that she had more of a. I mean, she definitely had a presence, but I do wish, because they did so much with Boba Fett, or not so much with Boba Fett, that Fennec Shand didn't really have more of a backstory because we want to I would love to know her backstory a little bit more. I know she's the assassin, but a little bit more into her backstory would have been much cooler too.
Apparently, some part of her backstory is actually in the Bad Batch TV show.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, but I mean, I think you guys understand our gist of it. Like we just didn't like this TV series at all, and it was just a big disappointment.
It was. And just sucks. So, yeah. That's it, Django?
Yep.
Okay. You go ahead and you can close it, Django.
So that was our discussion. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below of the season finale. This is it for our series on Book of Boba Fett, and
Mm-hmm.
I might not be involved with Kenobi, but the State of Star Wars crew, I think, will be in part of our discussion on Kenobi, and we'll be sure to have more videos as well in the future. But for now, this is it for Book of Boba Fett. We're not going to be doing any more. This is our last on the season finale, and
Last.
we hope you guys enjoyed this discussion, and hope to see you guys on the next video. Take care.
Bye bye.